It's your girl Nancy Red, and this is Season 3 of Mompreneurs, where every week we celebrate beautiful Black entrepreneurs who are simultaneously amazing business moguls and awesome moms. We're listening to their life stories and inspiring advice. Now, being a mompreneur comes with a lot of parts, and it's not just about the business or the product, because if you have no idea how to market the business and yourself, you're just not gonna get very far. And that's one of the ways my next guest comes in. Coleen Otero. Let me see if I can do it. Otero. I can't do it. She can do it, but she's so incredible. I was really going to try to roll that R because she deserves it. Because she is an amazing mompreneur who is the mastermind behind CEO Chicks, which is her women's network, as well as she's a sought-after branding expert. She's an author and so much more. And we are so glad that you're here with us today. Thank you, Coleen, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be interviewed by none other than the Nancy Reed. Like, I'm excited.
Let me say red.
Red.
I got it. No. But I wasn't trying to correct you. My whole life is my last name is
But
wrong.
you rolled the R's.
I did roll the R, and that's what you do. You improve people. Like, just in this few seconds of conversation, I've already got a new skill, sis. Thanks, appreciate you.
Yes, and listen, it is important that people get our name right. We know how important that is. So yeah,
we do, and your name is synonymous with, what would you say people know you as most? Like, when people hear your name, how would you say they think of you when we think about your brand?
A pusher. A pusher, a coach, a cheerleader, just someone that is out here really helping people go to the next level. Like, if somebody's going to believe in you and champion for you, it is me. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I have that fire for people, but I'm just such a huge advocate. And I love, seriously, Nancy, to see people win. Like, regardless.
There's nothing better than seeing people win. I do think there are people who do not like to see other people win.
Correct. Which is why I stress it. Like, I really do love to see people win. Like, it's the reason why I get up. It's so rewarding to me to see someone go from one level to another level that may have struggled in times past and felt as if they didn't deserve, a specific role or a specific level of income, or they're the first to do XYZ. And so it is truly rewarding for me.
Well, and it's rewarding for the people that you work with. So we're going to get into all of that in a little bit. But first, before we get into your mompreneurship, talk to us about who makes you a mom. Tell us about your enormous household.
The enormous. Okay, here we go. So I'm a boy mom of 4, and I have a bonus daughter. And so I have my youngest son, who is John. He's 12. Then I have Ethan, who is 14. Then I have Josiah, who is 16. Then I have Makai, who is 25. Then I have Jocelyn, my bonus daughter, who is 26. So it's a lot of us.
Y'all got a lot going on there. And it's amazing. You have a grown-up and a preteen. I have a 12-year-old. He's turning 13 next week. How do we get here? It's overwhelming. The puberty years are something.
Ooh, those are interesting. I almost like avoid going in to clean up the room because I don't want to find anything weird at that stage. I'm just like, nothing crusty. I don't even want to see it. I'm just like, you go in there. I knock before I go in. Being a boy mom.
The knock before you go in, that's new. It's very stressful. And it's funny because they still don't knock when they're coming into our room. And I'm just like, you gotta give what you request.
That part. I'm in the bathroom. If they need me, they still will just bark. I'm like, hello. Boundaries.
No shame.
Boundaries.
But I guess that's where we are. Okay, so you have been a mom for a quarter of a century, which is wild. Okay, when we look at your businesses, which came first, entrepreneurship or motherhood?
So entrepreneurship. I have been an entrepreneur all my little life. Oh, you made it sound so long. I'm getting older. Oh my goodness.
No, you're getting wiser. You're winning. I consider that to be an accomplishment. I have been in this game half as long as you, and I feel so lost half the time when we're talking about kids. And so, if you've been in business longer than you've been a
Yeah.
parent, then you have a lot of wisdom to share.
Hey, I love that. But yeah, I started doing hair at a very young age. I grew up with a all-girl household. My mother, we're Caribbean, and my mother did not know how to do any hair. Like, so we were in the salon at least once every 2 weeks. And if money was tight, it was a struggle, right? And so, back then, you know how kids are. They still are that way. They're super just bold about how they feel about someone's look, and I got picked on when my hair wasn't done a specific way or if it just looked crazy and wild, and I just started to learn how to do my own hair. That's how I got started. I often tell people that problems produce products and services, and it's so like we can't just be wanting to avoid challenges in our life or want to avoid problems in our life, because it was that very problem that helped me become the entrepreneur that I am today. And so that's how I got started. I started doing hair. By the time I was 16, my weekends, I was that girl in Brooklyn, on the weekends. It was like one after the other, getting their hair done, coming in. And so I really credit my mom for that. She was like, "You have a gift here." And she just began to cultivate that. And of course, she saved money because
Oh,
I
she
was,
saved money and she got to see you making money. I think that's one of the
yeah.
great things about when you are a person who's fortunate to be able to make money in their teens. Like I was fortunate, I had a couple of hustles going on when I was a teenager. I built websites and did all these other things. And when you realize, oh, I can make this amount of money in an hour, it becomes slightly addictive.
Oh yeah, especially that beauty industry. And let me tell you, it's fast cash, and it is one of the number one ways, especially in our world. Like I see so many beauty influencers that are super wealthy, and they are used to fast cash. And so there became even more conversations about how to manage your finances because of that, because there were so many that were not able to qualify for housing because they weren't really handling their finances the right way. You're getting so much cash in, you're not accustomed to the actual system, right? And what is required to move into home ownership or to purchase your own salon, so on and so forth. And so that even became another area, another problem for me, where I had to learn how to manage my finances and what did it really look like to get into salon ownership, which was one of my ultimate goals. But yeah, it is definitely a lucrative business. The beauty industry is huge, as we all know.
Oh, it's absolutely huge. So it was a great way for you to get your entree. So let's talk about what I like to call your hustle hierarchy, right? So right
Okay.
now in your business, like you have retired from hair.
Mhm.
That's where
Yeah.
you began.
Yeah, yep, it sure is. I began in the beauty industry, and then by 2018, right around turning 40, that's when I retired from the industry. Oh my goodness, I had to put in like over a 1 year notice to all of my clients, like
I'm sure they were
literally
devastated.
devastated, but I gave them enough time and, did my best to hand them over to some just amazing women that I had the privilege of working with. But that's where I got started. And then I transitioned at the age of 40 because I just realized like there was just something more, right? I did salon ownership. I was able to experience it. I was able to have, I was working at a franchise at one point, so I had multiple. So I went through it and I'm like, okay, so is this all? Sometimes we think when we get there, we're kind of like, oh, this is what I want. This is exactly what I want. And we get there and it's like, is this it? Is this it? Oh,
In particular in your 40s, because you're just like in the middle of
yeah.
kids and
Ooh,
if your relationship and you're tired, your
yeah.
feet are starting to hurt. That little mat underneath you while you're
Come on
standing all
now.
day is not doing it like it used to.
No, no, not at all. And so I'm like, okay, is this it? Well, then hits the financial crisis of '08. And so the salon, I had a full service salon and spa. And so that became just so hard to keep up with. And so we let that go. We also had a property management company. Well, the real estate market crashed. We had multiple properties. So we were forced to downsize, forced to short sale, forced to, like, literally, Nancy, shut it all down in 2008. It was devastating for me and my family. It really, really was. But ultimately, it was really the same, like that principle I talked about, that challenge and those problems that produce products. It was in that space of rebuilding and rebranding and figuring out like what's next. At first, my business was called Your Beauty Expert, and it shifted over into branding because it's like the landscape had changed. Social media was on the rise. Everyone was becoming privy to becoming a brand. People were reaching out to me and they were saying, "Hey, I want to do a book. Can you help me with my book cover? I want to, can you style me? I'm doing this gig, or I'm going to be speaking here, or I'm stepping out into doing more reality TV and entertainment. Can you help me?" So I started to just pay attention to the questions and the different things that were coming in my inbox, and it just began to shift, and I ran with it. I ran with it. So that was where CEO Chicks even came into play, because women were constantly asking me business questions. And so that season, while it was so difficult, it was so necessary, and I would not change a thing. It really just catapulted me into where I am today and all the various areas that I get to champion for women when they're dealing with loss or dealing with the recession. How do you handle that? Well, I've been there. I know exactly what it's like, right? And
You
so
had the
I can.
T-shirt and the foreclosure.
That, what do they call when the car too? What is it when the car goes away?
Repossession.
Yes, honey. Okay.
But now you've gone from repo to hero. Okay?
Hello. Okay.
And so, and because you know what is really great about, because I'm 43 now, and I was very successful in my 20s, and it just seems so easy. And also, you don't
Mm,
appreciate it. And then you get
mm,
older, and things are harder, and life
mm.
is more expensive, and you value it more.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but you value the things you accomplish more, and you don't take it for granted, and
Oh
you
yeah.
and you and you really, if you're lucky, really want to spread the wealth, which is what you seem to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You reflect on the times where you just blew money. Like, that was unnecessary. What I could have done with that now, looking back, right? But again, I really don't believe that any of that was lost, any of that experience is lost. And so I just take that wisdom and I apply it to my life. I teach my children those wisdoms, making sure we live beneath our means, and how to respect money and how to make it grow. And, all of those various things are common conversations now in our home. My husband picked up financial literacy, trading, just finding ways to increase revenue in our home where it doesn't require my face, because I do so much of personal branding that there's like the thought of, okay, how do we scale this when you're the product? What does that look like? And having to pour yourself into products that go places where you cannot, right? And so it's an ongoing conversation in our home and how to create various streams of revenue. And it's just an overflow. What you see publicly is just an overflow of what's happening privately.
Well, talk about that. So, what is the private public dynamic? Like, if we getting back to what we were talking about, the hustle hierarchy. How does that
Mhm.
work? Because I think that's one of the things people just don't know, and that's why we do this podcast,
Mm.
because it's talking to really cool people who have figured it out, not because their parents, gave them everything, but because you figured it out in these streets.
Woo, it's daily. I really think, because we evolve. And so I think it's a daily journey and just constantly figuring it out every day, right? Oftentimes it's like I'm an entrepreneur and a mom. And so I have to constantly prioritize. My children are now at an age where they don't need the hand holding like they did before. So there were times that I walked away from what was an opportunity because I needed to invest the time with my children, especially like during the pandemic. It was such a sensitive time with so much, like, oh my goodness, like explaining the racial tension that was happening in our country and all the various things going on politically. But I
And
think
then
it,
were you homeschooling as well?
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
we were all homeschooling, which
yep,
actually I think was a blessing personally because we could
correct,
control the narratives of this difficult time.
correct.
So yes, and that was another question because you have these four boys, you have the bonus daughter, you have a husband. You seem to work all the time. Your face is everywhere. I get it. You know what I mean? And and how do you balance all of this? How do you keep your sanity, keep your relationship intact through the ups and downs of not just parenting, but also your professional life?
Yeah, it's the prioritizing. Like, I really think that balance is a myth. I think we just have to prioritize. There's always going to be, because there's only one of me, right? There's only one of you. So we just have to prioritize. And it's like this time we're focusing on this. We have regular family meetings where we're talking about what's happening with each child, what's happening with the businesses, what's happening with us, where are we taking our time as a couple to still date. We follow this like 777 rule where it's like every 7 days we need to at least go out and do something as a couple. And then every 7 weeks we try to do some sort of staycation, learn something new. And every 7 months we try to get away. So that's how we prioritize our marriage. But in the midst of that, it's like so the kids don't feel like my kids don't feel like, oh, mom's never here, dad's never here, or they really don't have that issue. And it really has helped with my mom guilt, right? Is being able to just prioritize and explain and bring them in on the conversation, ask their opinion. Those things have been super helpful. We still sit at the dinner table. We still have conversations with each other. And so that's just a priority for me. It really is. There's work trips that we bring them along and they understand what mom is doing, how dad is playing a part. Like they love it. They absolutely love it.
It becomes a family thing. First of all, I
Correct.
love the 777. Did you come up with this?
No, I heard that on a podcast. I'll send it to you. I don't know which one
Okay,
I
that's
heard it
really good. We'll have to share that because I like that a lot because you can just grind so hard and lose sight, especially after a setback. Because so you said in 2008, like here
from.
you are now, you're working with the biggest brands, celebrities are shouting you out and they're part of CEO Chicks. Everyone's really appreciative of how you're growing a lot of their businesses. But in 2008, this was a bottom. This was a difficult time. Approximately how long did it take you to come back from the hit of 2008?
Ooh, that
When would you say that you're like, okay, I'm seeing this ship being righted, and not just in my mind and heart, but
right.
actually in like my bank account and my lifestyle.
Materialized. Manifested blessings. Yeah, yeah, I love that you put it that way for sure. I would say it took about a good 5 to 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the kids were still so young. That's why. And so it was like I needed a lot of help and support from family members in order to get there. My husband, it took therapy because my husband's ego was just, let me tell you, men's ego, it's like glass, right? Easily broken and hard to repair. And so we talk about that openly because, it just really hit him hard. And so that took some time. And then he got on his feet also and just kind of got back out there with trading and not taking it so personal when things didn't work out a specific way for him. And so I had to be there for him as well as I'm also out there doing my thing. So it took a tribe and it took time. So thankfully, we have amazing parents that are around us. We have great mentors and leaders. We lost some fair weather friends in that season. It was a great lesson. People we thought that were ride or dies, when that money dried up and they couldn't come get the extra car or they couldn't stay in the vacation house and things of that, they disappeared. They disappeared. I mean, people that were with us for years. So it was such a great lesson. And it just helped me to really increase my discernment and understand that, listen, I know that I'm called and purposed to help people and to operate in a space of wealth. And that I even have to figure out and learn what that looks like. because initially, in just being naive and young, I just wanted to help everybody and bring everybody over and have everyone at the house and those various things. And I had to learn, like, oh, wait a second. There is a process to this, even in how I give and how I open up my life to others. And so it was just a great life lesson, and I'm applying those things today, and I'm seeing it work in the manner that it should. Like, I'm often asked, can you mentor me, and can you help me and assist me? And so there are various things that I even look for in other women and men, because I get men as well that want that type of proximity to me. So I've learned a lot in how to navigate through that so that I can really be the help to those that I'm called to help.
That's really interesting. And it goes into what you actually do with your business, CEO Chicks, right? Like
Right.
it's kind of helping people not make, I won't call them mistakes, because if we did not have this
Sure.
information, then we wouldn't be able to grow, right? And not fall into the exact same pit that you did, because that's what I love. I love helping my mentees just not make the exact same mistakes that I made, right? Like making, maybe like if they're going to fall down, when I fell down 10 steps, maybe you get to fall down 3.
Yeah,
Because you
exactly.
can still grab up from 3.
Hello. I love it. So true. So true. It's so true. And that has been like, again, it's just so rewarding. And I'm often looking to see how the information is applied, right? Not just received. Sometimes you get people that want to be around just for aesthetics. And I just recognize that association does not override application. There has to be a level of work ethic, and there has to be a passion, there has to be a drive. Everyone has their, I believe, like mountain that they have to pioneer, or their terrain that they have to pioneer. And I often look for those that have that understanding that you're in proximity to me, but you're not like me per se, right? You don't have to necessarily do all the things that I do, but what you want to understand and glean from are the principles of what behind my practices, or the why behind it, and how that can apply to your life. Does that make sense?
Well, it 100% makes sense, and I bet it makes sense in CEO Chicks. So talk to us about what CEO Chicks is. Like, what is it
Sure.
that um all of this knowledge, all of these setbacks, all of this growth, all of these requests, what has it morphed into?
Yeah.
Because you have two
Education.
businesses, right? You have two businesses that you're the face of. You have the branding
Correct.
side of what you do, and then you
Correct.
have CEO Chicks. What are they, and how are they different?
Sure, great question. So, back to when I transitioned out of the beauty industry into branding. So, those skills began to translate into branding, and I just created a team, of course, that was very well versed in areas of marketing that I was not. And so, I have people to help with marketing, I have people to help photographers, other creators, and we just come together and create magic for amazing visionaries. Okay, so that's the branding side and how it differs, and where I'm helping create the brand for you. Whereas CEO Chicks is all about education. This is you getting the information to do it on your own. When I tell you, Nancy, I don't hold back, and I give the playbook. So when people say they want mentorship and they want to know, more of how to be successful in life, I'm like, it's in my book. Everything is in my book.
And
If
her
you
book is Brand to Books.
There you go. It is in my book. Figure out how to monetize your passion, how to monetize your brand. And so going from back to the difference, CEO Chicks is all about education, community, you yourself as a member becoming a voice and an advocate for other women. It's about networking. It's about coming to see where you can give, not just take. That's one of the biggest things, that we truly learn how to operate from a place of abundance. And when you do that, you lack nothing. That is one of my, like, I live by that. Like, I always look for where can I serve, because life is not about just status. It's about service to me. And so I think when you come from that place, like, you just don't lack anything. My social capital, my is out of this world. I will never ever. I could be at zero in my bank account and know for a fact that I will be taken care of
I
because of
love
that.
that. And it's something that's earned, It's not just
Mm,
given to you, it's earned. Like you work on these relationships because, I always say it's not like it's not like an elevator where it goes up and then it goes down. It's kind of like, it's like stairs. You can meet someone halfway, go back down with them a little bit, go up, completely
mm,
kind of cross paths and just say hi. Like
hi.
having people in your life who fully get who you are and who
Mm,
fully are on the same page is exceptionally helpful. And it's helpful to learn how to do that. And sometimes you have to learn how to do that from mistakes and from
mm,
not knowing. Like I know that
exactly.
I have learned how to be a better friend and business partner and mentor and mentee from my own mistakes and mistakes that have happened with me and all kinds of different things. Like
Mm,
none of us are perfect, and we're all just out
right.
here trying to figure this whole confusing capitalistic society out while
Mm,
still remaining God-fearing good people.
mm. Period. Period. Point blank. This is so true. And I'm right there with you. It's a daily thing. And I think being able to show up as you get older, I think being you, like being authentically yourself, like that's where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else. I want to be in spaces where I can just be myself and I can show up with my mistakes, my errors, because I do. I talk about them all the time. I had a huge issue last year with people that I didn't expect to no longer be a part of our network. And just talking about when you go through those different cycles and things that happen in relationship, how do you bounce back from that? How do you deal with betrayal? Like all of those various things. So I'm still figuring it out too, right? So I'm right there with you.
So when you're coming back from this, when it's it's 5 to 8 years, which simultaneously is a lot of time, but when you look at the scope of your hopefully 80 years on this life, is not that much time, right? But so you come back from this. What was the big break where you realized, okay, this is going to be okay?
Yeah. I cannot say there was a big break. It was just little, just keep on going every day. It was just little things, little signs, little clues just to keep on going. And so that in itself is just how I live. Honestly, it's just keep going every day, little things, little breakthroughs. They equal that big one, I guess you can say, over a period of time. But of course, being able to stand on our own feet again financially was a huge one, right? Like, okay, we had moved in with my mom, right? You got party of six, rolling deep, coming back to mama's house, and 2 months turned into 2 years. What was supposed to be 2 months turned into 2 whole years of just literally looking for work and going through, all the different issues that we had with the car and the house and where we were going to be able to fit everything in and just recover credit wise, all of it, all the things that you have to go through when you go through a financial hardship. So I would definitely just say it was just little things over and over again, applying the wisdom that we learned from that situation and applying it to our lives, our everyday life, going back to the basics when it comes to budgeting, right? Not overspending. Like it's not sexy. Like the things that make a marriage work, the things that make a family work, the things that make a business work. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. It's mundane. It's those disciplines. It's the things that people don't necessarily see or want to hear or talk about. How do you become successful financially? Learn how to budget. How do you lose
Yes,
weight? Learn to eat
learn
less
how to budget
calories.
your calories.
Right. Like do the math, right? It's just not super sexy. And so that's why I love education, Nancy. I really do. I truly believe there's no such thing as empowerment without education because it's what we do in those everyday moments that will determine that breakthrough.
Do you think that your kids being the ages they were while going through this, which were people, not babies, do you know what I mean? Do you think that your hustle, your tenacity, inspired your kids, your sons, to have their own little hustles too, or to kind of be more aware. I don't like to say the word responsible because that's not, it's like, yeah, but to be more aware of
Sure.
how things work.
Sure. I mean, the conversations in my house are hilarious. Um, but my 24-year-old, 25, he just turned 25 in June. He definitely has an entrepreneurial spirit like his mama, because he was the oldest at the time. If out of all the kids are so resilient, but out of all the kids, he was about 10 years old. So he was the one that really just experienced Christmas is not looking like Christmas anymore, right? It's not looking as good as it used to.
I love that the dog agrees with your advice because, we're mompreneurs, we're at home, we are multitasking,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
are a business mom, a mom, and a dog mom at the same time.
fur baby.
Uh,
Yeah.
when we're looking at this, a lot of people don't know where to get started. What would you say are some of the platforms and products and services that you use that could help people get started with marketing themselves and their businesses today? Because a lot of people just will say Google or Instagram. Is there something else, some secret weapon that you think people might need to be taking advantage of that they're not?
For on a digital space, as far as
Yeah.
just like how to start marketing themselves, social media is definitely the lowest cost like for any business owner when it comes to marketing. But outside from that, honestly, getting them from social media is really the key and the secret sauce, right? It's that owned media. It's bringing them to your website. So I like Wix. I like Shopify for a landing page of some sort. I like email marketing like a Weber or MailChimp, where you can, if you don't have a site, you can actually create a landing page on a Weber or MailChimp where you can begin to capture people's information. So ultimately, yes, you want to use social media, but how you use it is key. You want to be able to pull people into your world. That's the ultimate goal, is that you use those little 30 seconds or the imagery and the pictures and all those various things to bring them into your space, into your email funnel where you're having a deeper conversation with someone. Because I always and often say that conversation leads to conversions, right? Anytime I'm able to go on stage, anytime I'm able to have a conversation with someone, that's the moment when they're like, yeah, I need to work with this girl. Like, you're my coach. That's it. You're the one I feel like that they can resonate with. We resonate with each other. So I would just say social media for sure, but then be prepared to capture people and to bring them into your funnel or your offer or into a conversation to where you can convert them.
I think one of the great things about you is you're very multifaceted. You're not just in one lane. You don't just offer advice on one thing or you're seen as one thing. You've done everything from reality shows to books. You're doing like events. You've got this business. You've got your branding business. How do you keep, and what I think, I like the way you've described branding, which is something invisible. It's like vibes, which is I
Right.
never thought about it like that before, but I think that's really like it's like the energy that you express. That's what you say. I'm not saying this, y'all. This is from her. Like this is her wisdom that I have scooped up as I have gotten to know her. Uh, how do you keep your vibe consistent? No matter if
Mm.
you're on a yacht on a reality show or throwing a pop up with a major Fortune 500 company or tweeting something that Black China responds to.
Yeah, the definition for me of branding is the spirit or the essence of an organization or person, right? So it is. It's the thing that we feel. It's not necessarily the thing that we see, but it's from that place, right? When you come from that place of understanding your core beliefs, is really like what I'm saying in essence, is what is it that keeps you up at night? What is it that drives you? What are your passions? Why does it exist? When you go that depth and you build from that place, then the logo starts to make sense because it just resonates with that core belief system, right? The book makes sense because it resonates with that core belief system. The website makes sense because it resonates with that core belief system. And so one of the things that my foundation, when I coach on anything, when I'm speaking or teaching or training, all comes from that brand, right? That thing that is felt and not seen. And so when you are like in tune with that, I truly believe you never have to rebrand again. when you are like solid in who you are, what you believe, like those various things, you're just so disciplined in that you have mastered you, right? You have mastered who you are, period, point blank. So anything that you do from that place of authenticity is on brand. And so that's how you remain consistent. And we're talking about, of course, like that when it's a personal brand. You're a personal brand. I'm a personal brand. So there are certain things that I would not, vouch for or partner with, uh, just because of my core beliefs. And so I think that that's it. That's how you remain consistent, is that you follow those purposes, that inner belief system. You build based on that, not based on what's trending, not based. And there are times what's trending will like literally work in your favor because it's in alignment with your core beliefs. It's in alignment with your brand. There's times that it won't. And it's okay for you to have an opinion and to have a stance on something that may not be popular, right? So that's how you remain consistent to it. It's like you got to get to the core of who you are and what you truly feel like you're called to do. And then you begin to build from there.
And what if, like, your 2008 and so many of our experiences, like, none of us are getting out of this earth unscathed. What
No.
if your core shooketh? How do you
And it
how do
will.
you it
And
will get
it
shooketh
will,
and
baby.
shooketh again like a rag doll in a sea? Like like how do you control that vibe? How do you get your innate or desired vibe back after a hard step down?
Yeah, been there, been there. And, I think it's just a matter of, again, like who you have around you, who holds you accountable, who reminds you like of who you truly are. Like, baby, that's off brand. That's not you. Mental health, therapy, all of those things I think really help us to see the reflection, because we can get out of character. We've seen it. We've seen amazing women, men, that have great personal brands, and we're like, whoa, that was off brand, right? We've seen it happen in front of our eyes on stages at award shows. We're like, whoa, where did that come from, right? And you just have to really take a moment and say, you have to ask yourself, where did that come from? How did I get there? How did you got to trace that back? And so I think it takes some really deep conversations. And again, I'm speaking from a place of a personal brand, when it's like, man, your livelihood is tied to your being, right? So you have to really ask yourself those deep questions, and it really takes the tribe. I think we have to build our the circle that's around us very, very wisely. Yeah, we we have to build the circles that are around us wisely, and we have to have mentors that can give us sound advice. I think all of those things play a role in how we can come back from those tough seasons that like literally try to take us out. And it could be anything. It could be financial hardship. It could be a divorce. It could be death. It could be losing your dream job. It could be anything that can shake you to your core, that will challenge you to say, everything you think you are, you're not. I think we all have that like space and time where we go through like, whoa, did I marry the right person? Like, am I even supposed to be a mom? Am I like, am I supposed to be coaching anyone? We really have storms that come into our life that challenge us to that degree. And I think that is where that faith has to kick in. That's where your circle, the people that are around you, the people that you trust, can help to pull you out. Can't do it alone.
No woman is an island.
Mm.
And having those people around you get you on the right path. Who are some of the people that you credit with helping you to get here?
Mm. I have an interesting one. I one of the ones that helped me the most hurt me the most. So interesting. But I had a strong relationship with a spiritual leader, and that tore me apart. Unfortunately, coming out on the other end, I just realized it was one sided. I was into so much. I was younger. I was into so much people pleasing. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so amazing. And I just, whatever she wanted, whatever she needed, whatever, and I unfortunately fell into just being misused and abused, honestly. I was a young mom at the time, and I remember my mother saying to me, man, you're spending so much time with this individual and you're doing so much for this individual. It's hurting you at work, it's hurting you in your business. And I just felt like, oh, well, that's part of what's required when you serve at this magnitude. And you have, so I understand church hurt to a degree that some people, I can truly relate to that. It taught me so much, Nancy. And so it got to a place, of course, where I forgave this individual. I had to create distance. I forgave her. I got into therapy. I began to understand me. That took me on the journey of how did I allow that? What were my motives? Just various things, and understanding and coming back to what do I want? What am I called to do? Yeah. And so that was insightful. It was insightful. And then I began to recognize that some of the relationships that I would choose were not, they were kind of toxic. And I'm like, well, where is this coming from? Then you have to recognize that there is an area in which you see yourself and what you think you deserve. And so it just really is a deep conversation between you and your maker, and just kind of just figuring out like, man, do I even love myself? And why am I so into the beauty industry, and what is it that I think about my black skin and my black hair, and what is it that I like, all it's just going so deep. And finally coming to a place where it's like, okay, I'm good. I love myself, and this is why I'm here, and this is how I identify, and so on and so forth. And so I credit her. I credit her for that tough lesson that I had to learn, and I love her for it. And I've also even recognized now on the other side that she was hurt. She was abandoned. She had issues with women, and she would assert her authority in a specific way because it made her feel like she was in a place of control. And that was what her love language looked like. And so it just took me to a place where I lead differently. I lead so differently. And challenges and problems have, again, just been a great teacher for me. And so when people say they want me to mentor them and they want to be in proximity to me, typically it's because they're about to go through a storm.
It's like there's like they can sense you. But I think that's an interesting thing with a lot of our generation is the people who helped us had been hurt so much by so many different sources. Society was a lot harder. People had to be harder and tougher. And I personally see that because I know that with me and my mentees and their mentees and vice versa, we're all like, we're breaking the cycle. We're not bringing the stuff that
That's so
some,
good.
not all of our
That's good.
mentees, not all
That's
of our
good.
mentors brought it,
That's
but
good.
we're very
Yeah.
careful and intentional about our communication and
That
about the
part.
respect and the
Yeah.
boundaries within.
Yes. It's
Uh, and
beautiful.
so I
It's
love that. And I
beautiful.
think that's really important for our listeners to see because you can't climb, you can't create your business, you cannot overcome a hurdle, you cannot regroup if you don't look to see if the relationships that you're in may or may not be problematic,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
that's romantic,
There you
professional,
go. Yeah.
religious, personal,
Yeah.
familial.
Yeah. So now I look for that reciprocity. I look for that, it's mutual and there's life, like even with my mentor, it's not just me taking from her, right? Like it's also giving, it's also like abundance. And so it has just been such, on this other side of all of those trials and tests, it's just been so beautiful. And because of, again, that the relationship piece. And so I'm seeing it reflected in every area of my life. I'm super aware. I am more of an introvert. People are surprised by that because I do have extrovert tendencies. However, I retreat quickly, and then I figure out I need about 2 to 3 days because I just am such, I love deep thinking. I love making sure I'm aware and that I'm present in everything. And so it has been beautiful. And you're absolutely right. And my parents also, my husband, my best friend Jennifer, they are amazing. They have literally just been with me through thick and thin. So
We are very fortunate, and we are fortunate to have you with us and to have gotten to learn more about CEO Chicks, your branding work, your book, and everything. Our time is almost up, but I can't let you leave until you participate in my favorite segments. I ask everyone this. It's called Mompreneurs Manifestation. And
okay.
I always ask you to share what's next for you or what you're hoping
Mm,
comes next so we can
okay.
help to manifest success in this endeavor for you.
Mm. Next for me, collaboration. One of my mantras, which is actually what we use in a tagline for CEO Chicks, is collaborate, create, and dominate. I believe that is like how I live, honestly. And so, one of the biggest things for me is just to see more collaboration amongst women, amongst different brands that may do, similar things. I love seeing people come together to increase impact. And so, for me, with the CEO Chick Network, we're doing more collaborations. We've had the honor and privilege of doing things with Shopify 1MBB, with Forbes BLK. And so there'll be more just access, to give more access to women in our community. Uh, that's what I want to see. I just want to see us be able to give people the information they need to take their life to another level. If you can take your business to another level, it will impact your life, and vice versa, as you can see, because we have to be great leaders. We have to be healthy. We have to be mentally and emotionally, healthy to continue to see things just grow and blossom. But that's one of the things, more collaborations.
I love it.
Yeah.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. So,
Hey, you're taking us
so,
back.
oh my gosh, so I didn't know where that came from. It was just, it was a moment. It was a vibe. It was a brand. Oh my Lord. Okay, Colleen, tell us where everyone can find you and learn more about all the work that you do and just get into your little world of fun and amazingness.
You can find me at my website. You can go to ColeenOtero.com, and all the information that you need to know about what's happening in my world is there. Social media, CEO Chicks, branding. I started a new business called Hello Jen, named after my best friend. We're focusing on virtual assistance like services. So that has been phenomenal, just helping more business owners get affordable help because we need it in order to scale.
Oh, that's amazing. So you're the middle person for the
Yeah, I'm behind
virtual
the scenes on
assistants.
that one. Yeah, I'm behind the scenes on that one. And so she's operations on that and just focusing on, again, like helping entrepreneurs get the help that they need. Yeah, affordable help. It's interesting out here in these streets with this recession.
Yes, that's an
Yeah.
understatement. And so who would be a dream collaborator or a dream
Ooh.
type of collaborator for you
So on my
in the
dream
season of
board,
collaboration?
yes, on my dream board, of course, Essence. Like, oh my goodness, I would love to do something with Essence. Who else? Mm, I go so high. I'm like, and people I want to just interview too. It's not, I don't know if it's necessarily collaboration, but I would definitely love to sit with the Obamas. Um, yeah, I can go on, but I'll leave you with those two.
Oh, those are two good ones. I'm claiming it. Look, you're close. You're not far. Every year there's a new level. There's a new
Yeah.
business, and there's a new opportunity. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom, your story. Very inspirational, very relatable. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And everyone, you heard her. You know exactly where to find her and all of her many businesses. And thank you so much for listening to and watching Mompreneurs. As a reminder, a brand new episode goes live each Monday on Urban One Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit urban1podcast.com to learn more. That's urban1podcast.com. Mompreneurs is brought to you by the Urban One Podcast Network and MadameNoire. Created, produced, and hosted by me, Nancy Wren. Executive produced by Sarita Wesley, Allison McGovna, and Tanya Hoffler-Moore. Produced and edited by Jiminique Miller.